Houston Real Estate Radio.
Welcome back to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm Shannon Register, and in a minute, I'm going to talk with Scott Norman, who's the Executive Director for the Texas Association of Builders. Last week, we had a representative from the Greater Houston Home Builders Association on the show, and this week, we're looking at the Texas Association of Builders, which is an affiliate of the National Association of Builders. So we're going to be talking about home building, new construction, pretty much. It has 12,000 statewide members and about 33 local home builder associations in the state, which includes the Greater Houston Home Builders Association. So Mr. Norman is calling into our show today from Austin. He's been involved in state government for more than 12 years as a Capitol staffer and a lobbyist, and I want to welcome you to the show, and thank you for joining us today on Houston Real Estate Radio.
Well, thanks for having me.
So tell us what you do for the Texas Association of Builders.
Well, as you said, I'm the executive director, and in that role, I run our statewide Home Builders Association. We have over 10,000 members across the state, primarily single-family builders, developers, remodelers, and associate members all across the state, over 30 local home builders associations, including our largest in the state is the Greater Houston Builders Association. We're an affiliate of the National Association of Home Builders in D.C., so the Texas Association of Builders exists primarily for advocating on behalf of home builders and home buyers and homeowners at the state capitol and state agencies. So our work keeps us pretty busy here in Austin.
It sounds like it. So what's your view of the political activities going on around the state as far as home building, new home construction?
Well, home ownership is always been a cornerstone of our state and national economy, and it's an issue that we don't have to explain too difficult. It's not too difficult, I guess, because surveys continue to show that there's a desire for everyone to own a home because of all the benefits of home ownership. And one of the things that we've been talking about is a survey we did, our National Association conducted towards the end of last year, that said that 73% of voters, even those that do not own a home, say it's a goal of theirs to one day own a home.
Yeah, I think it's still the American dream.
Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. And it's an economic driver as well. Mm-hmm. Home building is a leading economic driver for the state and nation, and it is something that we are proud to advocate for.
Do you see new construction increasing over the next year?
Well, Texas for the last going on 4 years has led the nation in home building starts. And we're over a fifth of all the new homes constructed in the United States have been built in Texas over that time frame. Last year, there were about 67,000 or so new single-family houses built in Texas, and that is over double the next closest state, which is Florida. We're on pace to hopefully exceed that and maybe approach 70,000 new houses in 2012.
The Houston area is definitely booming. I mean, this is a great place to be if you are a new construction builder, and we're, of course, the number one housing market in the nation, which is it's a great place to be.
It is. Texas is blessed in having, I believe, 4 in the top 20, with Houston, as you said, being first, Dallas is second, Austin, I believe, is 6th or 7th, and San Antonio is in the top as well. So it is quite a great place to be as far as new construction goes, although it's down from what it peaked at over 150,000 houses in the 07-08 time frame. So even though it is a great place to be, it's way down from where we were.
Sure.
But with somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 people a day continuing to move to Texas, the future looks bright. But we're going to have to supply both single-family and multi-family housing for all these folks coming to the state.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to create some new homes. And, our existing home inventory in the Houston area is actually down right now.
It is.
We have somewhat of a shortage going on.
Well, the statewide months of inventory, I believe, is down 23% from where we were a year ago to the houses in the overall inventory, both new and used. So that is a good thing. Although at certain price points, I think you're going to start seeing some shortages, especially with the lack of land development that's occurred over the last few years. That's starting to pick up, and that'll have a impact as we move forward.
Yeah, I think we're going to be heading into a seller's market. I think it's going to take some time to get there, but I definitely think that we're starting to see some indicators that we're going in that direction. What do you think about our current housing market?
Well, as I said, it's continuing to improve. The fact that the Texas economy is exceeding the nation in almost all indicators. Our unemployment is less and continuing to drop. Our unemployment rate, population increase, that I mentioned a little bit ago, is a positive trend. So I think as long as we continue the low regulation, low tax approach that our state leaders have employed, that will continue to lead the nation, hopefully for the foreseeable future.
I hope so. I own a real estate company, so we're real into that. We hope so. And I love seeing these first-time home buyers purchasing their homes. It's such a great thing to see renters move into home ownership.
Absolutely. That poll I mentioned, that another interesting statistic: 95% of homeowners say they're happy with their decision to own a home and believe that owning a home is important. But the current lending environment makes it more difficult, especially for first-time home buyers.
Sure.
It got, some would say, maybe a little out of whack during the heyday a few years ago, but now it has swung the other direction, and even folks with really good credit are having a hard time qualifying, which is making a problem, as you know, in the real estate business. A lot of people want to move up or purchase a home, but they may have trouble selling their existing home or simply qualifying for that purchase.
Yeah, we are seeing some lending issues and some appraisal issues in the
Absolutely.
Houston area. But, you just can't beat the interest rates that are out there right now.
No, they are, we've been saying for years these are at historic lows, and they continue to stay there. It seems like just about everyone that ever even thought about it has refied, and now, it's just the qualifying factor. And appraisals, that is another very large issue of concern for us, because the appraisal process has gotten to where it has become more difficult for people for their purchases to appraise.
Well, and even some new home construction is not appraising. What do you think about that? I mean, brand new homes not appraising.
Well, I think there's a couple of things at work. Texas has been blessed not to face the serious foreclosure problems that we've had in other parts of the country. We're still middle of the pack among the states in foreclosure rates. The raw numbers fairly high because we're such a big state, but when you have foreclosed homes being appraised and trying to compete against those, and then a lot of the green features that are being both the market is demanding as well as the code increases, a lot of those green features, which are more expensive, aren't being factored into the appraisal cost, which is problematic.
Yeah, that is definitely a problem. Do you think that's going to change? Do you see some changes coming down the line?
Well, I think so. I know our national association, as well as we are working on the state level, and our local associations are working to work with appraisers and we're working with the appraiser organizations to try to educate their members and bring them up to speed on some of these new features and the reason that the home costs are more in some areas. But as these green features become more and more mainstream, that has a positive effect of driving down the cost as well. And so I think, over time, I think we'll reach a balance, but it's going to take a continuing education effort on behalf of all sectors of the industry.
Sure. And where do you think we're headed after the presidential election? I always like to get everybody's opinion on that.
I think obviously you can see this in the markets and in other indicators. I think there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of folks sitting on the sideline waiting to see what happens in November. I think regardless of what happens with the election, I think you'll see some certainty, and you'll start to see increased investment into the market, and you'll see hopefully a positive trend both with the stock market and with employment numbers and companies starting to hire and spend money. They say that there's more cash sitting on the sidelines right now than there's ever been, and so hopefully once there is some political certainty after the election, that things will start to pick up at an even much quicker pace.
I certainly hope so, and I think there are a lot of consumers out there that are hoping that will happen as well. What do you think about the construction employment? I know that there have been over the last few years so many people exiting the industry because of lower demand and just all the issues around housing going on. Do you think that we're going to see an increase in construction employment?
Well, I think the most recent numbers that the comptroller released, I think it was only a week ago, there was a large uptick. In fact, construction was one of the largest gains in sectors of the economy in Texas in employment. But certainly it is way down, with our housing starts down 2/3 from where they were back in the 07-08 time frame. There has been a mass exodus from the industry, and I think there's going to be a lag in that coming back as the production hopefully ramps back up. You know, our builders are going to be competing to hire back people and find experienced construction folks to build these homes. So it will be a challenge, but I think the market will respond.
Well, any particular issues right now going on at the state level that consumers need to be focused on or concerned about as far as new construction housing is going?
Well, an issue we're always concerned with is the impact that property taxes and rising property taxes have on home ownership. That is something that it isn't directly in the price, but it definitely affects the ability of people to purchase a home because of their taxes. And so we need to make sure as we get into the next legislative session that begins in January, and as the legislature responds to the public school finance challenges that are going on, which may or may not, probably won't happen during the legislative session, will probably be in a special session after the Supreme Court acts, that we make sure that decision makers understand that their decisions do have an impact on home ownership and home affordability. A number that we use often, but it's very telling, that the Real Estate Center at Texas A&M has found that for every $1,000 you raise the price of a median home in Texas, and that could be either through construction costs, labor costs, materials, or property taxes, over 28,000 Texas families are priced out of the market. And so,
wow, that's a lot of families.
It is, and it doesn't take much to add $1,000 to the price of a home.
Sure.
So we have to make sure that government isn't doing things that aren't necessary. Obviously, there are some regulations and regulatory costs that are required, but we have to make sure that they keep in mind that they try to minimize those things, absolutely possible, so we can make sure that the Texans that want to purchase a home can.
Fantastic. We need to take a quick break, but I appreciate you coming on, Mr. Norman, from the Texas Association of Builders, giving us some great information, and we are going to be back with Houston Real Estate Radio right after this commercial break.